All right. It's Funk Doctor, as you saw. This one, again from my Russian website, pravda.ru. U.S. Fear Factory kills free speech. They talk here about the infamous McCarthy hearings, which happened in the 50s. What they did was anybody who spoke any sideways about government or police state was, immediately arrested, and it was a witch hunt. It was the Salem witch hunts all over again. So they're making fun here. They're saying that names were blacklisted, careers and lives were ruined as authorities ruthlessly traded on people's fears, paranoia, and weaknesses. They then, find it prudent to say that, but hey, folks, that was back in the 50s, and various admins resolved the same insane hysteria and hatred and fear would never happen again. Now, they're making this little joke as if, Americans haven't had to deal with this since the 50s until now with all this Palestinian and Israeli bullshit. The fact of the matter is, we've always been in that state. Throughout the entire Cold War, everybody could have been a spy for the KGB. Everybody could have been a spy for the U.S. And, so you had to deal with that. Everybody was afraid of that. And now we've moved into an area where we're afraid of our government. We're not supposed to say anything bad about them. We're not supposed to talk sideways about our president or his cabinet or any of his decisions. The G20 thing with this whole Toronto being turned into a police state, it has nothing to do with Viva Palestina. But from the very highest lawmakers right down to ordinary John Doe, there is an irrational fear so great that it holds many hostage in their own homes, workplaces, and schools. So when they're told that heavily armed Israeli soldiers shoot peace activists at near point-blank range because they're defending themselves, few dare to question. When they see babies dying on Gaza Strip because of lack of medical equipment, because of the Israeli enforced blockade, they remain silent. And even fewer dare to criticize Israel. Millions upon millions of Americans wake up frightened, go to sleep frightened, while others feed on the hatred and bile spewed by these politicians, preachers, academics, and the media who tell them Israel is good and Palestine is bad. There are some who want to see the heroic Americans who boarded the Free Gaza Movement boats, joined the Viva Palestina convoys, and the recent Gaza-bound Freedom Flotilla prosecuted as terrorists. He says that he trolled through some of the American media, and there among column inches are stories perfectly illustrating the Zionist fear factory in operation. Now, let's just take 1 second to think. In one of my other videos, I think one of my most recent, I mentioned that people don't even realize that we're still in like the first 100 years of media saturation, okay? Of course, the radio saturated a lot of homes before the television, but the advent of the television ruined American thinking, world thinking. So we're in an area where nobody talks about politics anymore. I try to explain it to people I know. I try to talk to them like, oh, this is happening, that's happening, and I can show them proof, and they're still like, yeah, no, I don't believe you. Why don't you believe me? Because the government didn't tell you? Because everyone just thinks the government is such a great thing and they're helping and all that shit. And then I saw a comment on one of Doc's videos, Sacramaniac. I was watching and I'm going down and there's this person that's like, I'm afraid for you guys. You really shouldn't be talking bad about the government. They can take you and make you commit suicide or put you in jail for the rest of your life. And, you guys should stop talking about this. Now, that's either a COINTELPRO agent who just thinks they're being funny that day, or that's one of the millions and millions of people in America that just don't fucking get it. Every person that says something like that, every person that thinks they should just shut up so they don't get black-bagged, you are the problem. Shut your fucking mouth. If you're afraid of the government, delete your YouTube account and go sit on your Facebook and tell everybody what you ate for breakfast, because no one gives a fuck what you have to say. The Los Angeles Times reveals that UC Irvine has told its university students that the Muslim Student Union will be suspended for 1 year because it dared to criticize Israel and protested during a speech given by the Israeli ambassador. Freedom of speech is now banned. Let's talk about that for a second. That's because we're in bed with Israel. Always have been. That's why Israeli soldiers can go out, rape, pillage, and murder whoever the fuck they want and never have to face anything from any other country. Because they're in bed with us. And we tell them, do whatever the fuck you want. Just give us some oil. I think we need to get the hell out of there. Completely. Period. We shouldn't have anything to do with Israel or Palestine. It's their war. Those idiots want to fight over some land that was holy a few thousand years ago. Who gives a fuck? I would really, really like, to live on the land where, I don't know, the Wachowski brothers are born. But I'm not going to start a war over it. I'd like to live in Paramount Studios, but I'm not going to start a war over it. The unprecedented, my ass, very precedented, that happens all the time in America, also sends out a chilling message to students across the U.S. who might consider demonstrating, rallying, or protesting against the Zionist state and its supporters. Free speech, it seems, is a thing of the past in Obama's America. And it is. You should be in any doubt, read a story about the latest decision to emerge from the U.S. Supreme Court in a majority 6-3 ruling. It becomes virtually impossible for anyone to put food into the mouths of malnourished babies in Gaza or to give money to a charity to do the humanitarian act for you. Insane as it sounds, it is now a crime in America to work for peace and human rights in Gaza, because the day-to-day running of the Strip is carried out by the democratically elected Hamas government. Therefore, it would be virtually impossible to bypass Hamas to operate in Gaza. In an astonishing McCarthy-like ruling, any American who even offers advice to these banned organizations like Hamas, including legal assistance and information on conflict resolution, will be prosecuted as terrorists. Be afraid. This is happening in the U.S. here and now. They're absolutely right. But the thing is, for every asshole who sits back and assumes that other people are going to handle this, I'm going to sit scared in my hole, you're the problem. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that human rights advocates providing training and assistance in the nonviolent resolution of disputes can be prosecuted as terrorists. A Georgetown University law professor who argued the case before the court, named David Cole, in the name of fighting terrorism, the court has said that the First Amendment permits Congress to make it a crime to work for peace and human rights. That's wrong. This ruling is designed to intimidate Palestinian supporters in their fundraising activity. Some have already been prosecuted and jailed for raising cash for social groups dealing with issues such as housing and welfare in Gaza. I don't even know what to say. Does everybody know, first of all, that Hamid Karzai used to work for the Bushes and Cheney? And that he was placed as Pakistan's leader by us? Does anybody know that? Probably not. I don't even know what to say. This last page, I'm not even going to read it. I'm just going to scroll it. But Americans, stop being scared. Just stop. There's no point. If they want you, they'll come and get you. Check out the Georgia Guidestones. They want to decimate the population to less than 1 billion. 500 million is the idea. It's written in the Georgia Guidestones. It's there. They show it right to you. They're making fun of you the whole fucking time. Just stop being scared. There is no fear. The thing is, in numbers, if all of us stand up at the same time, they can all kiss our ass at the same time.